morning, traders, and welcome to Trade the Structure. Now, we're just coming to the start of the Asian market session for the start of the new week. So we're just going to run over what happened on Friday night and some key levels and action that we expect to play out and potentially just this coming session and over the next coming sessions as well. So we've got the US obviously bounced back. They all pretty much indices bounced back across the board. It started in the Asian market session. We had a good rally on the ASX, the Hang Seng, the Nikkei, which flowed on into the European session. Which the DAX and the Ethereum, DAX and the Ftse 100 kicked on as well. And then we've got the US session, which really bounced back nice and hard. So you would have expected that. We're speaking about this on Friday in the previous report. You can see that the market's well and truly extended. This is the S&P 500, the major market. Was pretty much that bounce was led by the Nasdaq and tech stocks. Everyone just diving straight back into tech. You know, they're doing what they know best. They're doing what they've done and repeated over the last year or two. Okay, since the pandemic sell-off, everyone's been buying the tech. It's been happening for a while now, and they're just repeating the same sort of processes they've done before. I think longer term, the market's in a completely different cycle. Well, we know that we're in an interest rate rising cycle now, and they're in a completely different structure. So it's more just bargain hunting. I suspect that an intraday bargain hunting that drove the market higher. You can see that these markets were stretched down, and they were stretched into that. So that's our first projection lower. The secondary projection or volatility projection lower, which we come into this level we've been discussing, and it has bounced back. So you can see that momentum starting to ease. It was getting oversold. It's sort of in that extended territory, and we're bounced back now. So whether or not we can get a decent correction back up, I wouldn't be surprised if we get back up to this area on the S&P 4121 before we start to roll again. Or, we're looking at sort of two major things. We're looking at either the market's going to test in here and we're going to head straight back down again, or we're going to sort of test up, have a decent higher low, and we're going to sort of project higher. If you can see that there, we're going to project higher and have a decent correction of this leg down, okay, before we start to we may get something like this before we start to get another leg down. Either way, I do think longer term there's so much pressure, but it could be that the fact that it's the pressure that everyone knows. Interest rate rising cycle, everyone's expecting a sell-off, and everyone, you get on the Twitter, every guru out there is talking about this major sell-off. Now, it is the known, okay, so it's sort of what people are expecting. If it doesn't happen, anyone that's been positioning short for that respect is going to get squeezed out. Now, the longer, and it could just be another rush up to the highs. It could be that this sell-off's going to happen later on down the track. We don't know. All we can really trade is what we see. Okay, not what we believe is going to happen, what the news is telling us is going to happen. They just react, and they like to drive that fear. Okay, so whatever the news says, you can sort of put it aside for now, just trade off purely price action, I think. Over the Dow, you've got same sort of scenario. You've got this market's extended. It could go a bit lower, but it looks like we're in a bit of a bounce at the moment. We could be coming back into that 32,500 zone. We might extend in there tonight and then roll over. Who knows? But at the moment, I feel that we're going to a bit of a bounce, okay, from these extended markets. Bit of a bounce reaction back up again. Probably some more bargain hunters. I expect us to be. Obviously, the Asian market's going to open up positive. The ASX, the Hang Seng, and Nikkei are going to open up positive. It's whether they can go on with it. If they go on with it, expect that to flow on into the European session and over into the US session as well. Okay, only because their markets are so extended to the downside, so we can get some sort of decent corrective move back up again. Okay, on the Nasdaq, which is seen to be leading the markets. Just get over to here. There we go. So you can see a good extension down. We come back into that volatility projection down for the secondary leg. So it's your first leg, second leg. We're speaking about this, had a little minor double bottom there. We bounced straight back again. Okay, so the anchor to that downtrend is at 12,532. Now, if we hold that tonight, we start to roll over, then we could just pretty much extend on that leg and continue our way down. Okay, if we get some sort of break up there, a break up through, and then we start to get this kind of action, I think it's going to be a deeper leg back up, okay, a deeper corrective leg back up. And then you're sort of looking well back up into this level, 13,100 set thereabouts, or even higher. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that one. So the DAX hasn't been looking too bad all in all. We've had a bit of a grind down, and we're heading back up. So that momentum's still down, but it's not what we've seen before. With this sell-off, it was really hard and fast. It was just a big, strong sell-off. This move down has been a lot more controlled. All right, so it could be that when they're generally more controlled, there's more buyers stepping in. There's no buyers in this capitulation sort of a move here. Everyone's sort of just waiting to, standing back. There's only, I guess more aggressive people. I'd like to call them stupid, but people standing in the way of that sell-off there. If you're buying into there, buying into there, buying into there, what we're seeing here is more buyers and sellers. So there's got that everyone's expecting this kind of move again, and any shorts keep getting squeezed out of the action. So it'd be interesting to see whether this holds up here. I would expect in the European Open, we're going to sort of pop up to maybe 14,145 or 14,200 to test into this zone here, but still hold this trend down. If we break well above that level, then you're looking for a longer term move up to sort of 4,888, okay, over the longer period anyway, but maybe not. I wouldn't expect that tonight, but if we start to break these sort of anchors to the downtrend, then you can start to expect that this leg down, the buyers are going to start to take control and squeeze out any sellers and potentially push back up to this zone up here. Okay, on the Ftse, now Ftse had good sell off here, grind back up, good sell off here, extended on that move, and then we bounced straight back again. So it is finding some buys. They've got interest rates on I think CPI numbers or interest rate on Wednesday. So they're going to be sort of their main focus for the next couple of sessions. And it's going to be, across the board. I think if they start to raise rates as well, talk up raising rates, then it's going to be, I just think that longer term pressure is going to keep adding up. And we're going to get these swings and roundabouts with the markets, have this bit of a spillover, bounce back again, bargain hunters bounce back up, because it's been paid, in previously buying those dips is paying out, okay? Whether buying at these dips continues to pay out now, I don't believe so. I think it's more just that your short-term bargain hunters looking for that pushback up, and then intraday we might get back up to this 74.80 level and then roll over. Okay, but I don't think the dynamics have changed for me. I think longer term we're starting to roll, whereas longer term before, when you buy the dips, you're heading up. Anyone that was looking for a sell-off before, as the trend is actually up, okay, was getting paid off. Now the trend is down, so buying those dips is not going to pay off, and it could easily get people caught and the market could roll over. So I think we need a much bigger price action or price structure to suggest that we're going to head higher over the longer term, and it's not playing out that way at the moment. That price structure is still down. You've got the retest fail here, big move down, failure up here again. We've got this start potentially where at this area here before we get a major sell-off and straight down through 68.28. We don't know that yet. All we can see is that this Ftse, for example, is getting a little bit extended back on the upside. We're going to bounce because that's the move down, bounce up, move down, bounce up. So we're bouncing off that down move. Okay, whether we're going to continue that down move, we're going to bounce straight up through 74.80 and start attacking 76.83. We're waiting for that more data to come through, okay, or more action to play out. Over to the Hang Seng, also the Asian markets. You got the Aussie market, it flushed through this level, 69.70. Good bounce back, sort of, it really was out of the blue. On Friday, we're coming to this level. We spoke about this level a few times. It flushed it through, bounced back, flushed through those lows, and bounced straight back again. So the market, pretty much from the onset, right from the open, was just going to go. Okay, it opened up stronger than we expected and just kept going all session. So it was a good, good bounce back, which leads me to believe we're going to get. You can see the way this move down here is well and truly, it's extended. You're probably going to expect some sort of nice bounce, especially after this double bottom, or RTF, I call it. Some sort of bounce back and a bit of a grind back up again. Okay, we start to do this action, we might push up, pull back, and then go again, have a secondary leg up before we might look for another rollover. Okay, but longer term, for me, that market's clearly struggling. You got tops up here, 76.15, big sell off here. This big flush, we got all the way back up there, failed again, and we're still failing at the moment. We're just in a bit of a corrective mode. I wouldn't be diving into add any major stock positions to this portfolio, to a portfolio anyway. I'll be waiting to see. You want a major leg like this, move up, major higher low, before we could potentially push to new highs. Okay, and I don't think that we're a long way away. We're sort of at this stage here. Okay, you can see the big sell off here. We're about this stage, as opposed to having a major push up, major corrective action. Over to the Hang Seng. Hang Seng had a good bounce back, obviously, like other markets. You see on the 30-minute market, we're going to probably open up, I'd say, somewhere around here, flush that level at 20,100 thereabouts, previous lower high. You can see that market's pressed down. Okay, continuation there. It failed. Okay, we was talking about this. If it started to fail through this low, we could go on with it, but instead we just fallen short around that 19,388. Fallen short there, gapped up on the open, and just pushed our way up. So we're going to gap up to here, I would suspect, around this high. Whether we go through and retest it from, probably test into it and rally again, I don't know. Whether we just go through and straight back down below. Straight back down below is not a good sign for me. I think then that could be sort of a double top RTF, and then we start to roll back down again. Okay, on the daily basis, it's just a bit of a pullback. All right. So look, trend is still down. on a major level, you got that big move down, good corrective move, big move down. We could just be retesting it to here before we have another move down all the way back down to the 18,400 zone, this previous low. But for now, we're just going to watch to see what happens today. Over to the Nikkei. We're going to open up stronger again because of the action of what happened on Friday. I think the Nikkei closes at 4 p.m. Sydney time, thereabouts, give or take. We'll just see at 4 o'clock. So we're going to open up a little bit stronger on the Nikkei and follow on for this move. We're going to gap up, and then it'll be interesting to see whether we sort of continue this trend down. We gap up, or we start to grind back up and have a deeper correction back up sort of this zone here, potentially, back up towards these highs. Okay, I don't think that'll happen today because that would suggest that we're going to probably gap up to here. We're going to add another 300 points potentially from being up 200 points in the day, which is it could do that. You could see the Nikkei was up 600 points on Friday. We could easily open up and continue on and add another 300 points. So it's all really about that open. What's going to happen on that open? Whether we start to fade from the open or we just power back up. But either way, that's the downtrend. And even if we do power up and we get up to this level, we're still holding this sort of longer term downtrend. And the action is tentative. Okay, over to the currencies. We're looking at the US dollar. Now, the US dollar had an RTF up at these highs at around 104.90 or say 105. Failed there. There's more of a safe haven bid coming out of the action. Okay, because we knew that the Asian markets and European markets were up. Okay, it was just that safe haven bid exiting out of the market, as opposed to, okay, we can expect that the whole thesis behind the US dollar strength has changed. It's not changed at all. Okay, we've still got major inflation. That's not going to get contained until the US. So the Fed's got to step up and do something. So the market's going to sit around and chop around until we figure out what the Fed's doing. Are they going to be a bit harder, more aggressive on the rate rises? And in between there, what's going to be those inflationary numbers coming out, between now and then, between when the Fed's got to take some action. Now, if they disappoint and they give you another maybe quarter to half a basis point, 50 basis point move, then the market might be disappointed and we might get more appreciation in the US dollar. It is getting extended on the daily basis. You've got major daily resistance. We've just pushed up through and we're starting to fail just up here. We might just sort of back and feel here and then, rally back up. Doesn't mean where this momentum up is finished. It could just be this is your leg up, bit of a corrective move before you start to find, we might get something like this and start to move back up. Okay, we might get that sort of major high or low here, continue up through that 105 area. Okay, but for now, it's more of that safe haven bids come out. Now, if we get more positive move up in equities today into the the Asian market and the European markets, then we might get some more grind back down through that 104, 475, which would mean that the currency is going to find some buyers. Euro is pretty much the same sort of thing in reverse, really. We've got major daily zone through here. You can see this major daily support. Just get over to it, which was holding. This is a major daily support into here. The market's just flushing into that level. We might get a bit of a bounce back, but you can see that it is extended. It is extended into that level. It's just whether we get a bit of a bounce back or we continue to extend. Okay, we don't know, but when you're looking at sort of this daily basis, we're extended here. We've got a lower high. The momentum's down. Okay, the pressure's down. No doubt about that just yet. It's just where we're going to go to from here. I would expect a bit of back and fill, especially if that US dollar finds some weakness, a bit more of a weakness, a bit more back and fill, back up before if the US dollar starts to resume its way up, then this is going to continue down. Okay, but on the short-term basis, on the 30 minutes, for now, we've got this sort of minor RTF here at 103.54. If that US dollar grinds down, expect that we're going to take out that 104.16, sort of 104.20 area, these sort of highs when it starts to pressure back up, just to squeeze out some of these shorts into here. Okay, over to the pound, but get a bit of a move on. Pound, same sort of scenario. We've just flushed the lows and we're bouncing back, so it's more corrective action. The same here. We've got some major sort of zones up around here. It's around that 123.90 area, 124 even. Major resistance zone up here. So we're just correcting this leg down at the moment. So we don't know where we're going to flush to. We could just pause around this zone at 122.54 and start to roll over from here. But you want to see any sort of flush up, rejected before you start to look for some shorts. Okay, Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar had a nice little run back up. We traded straight into that level. There's a level on a daily basis, 68.30, straight into that level before we bounced. Okay, the move's down still. That's your major move down. We've got that little pop up into, was it 70.30, 70.33 pop up, failed, made it to new lows. We're correcting that move up at the moment. So we're just squeezing out some sellers at the moment. So I don't want to be biased up at the moment because the longer term trend is still down. And I think the US dollar really hasn't, it's still holding that sort of minor support level on the US dollar, which would mean that if it starts to rally again, the Aussie is going to roll. You would expect it to roll over. So I don't want to be going long in here. We're a bit extended on this move up, and the longer term trend is down, so we could just start to easily roll over from here. So not ready for shorts. Wouldn't want to go long. US yen. Now that's that, with some safe haven buying into the yen, we got this little flush down. Okay, so obviously a bit of an easing in the safe haven yen buying, and we got, they've just reversed. We've got a bit of a pop back up, so they've got to sell back into. But I think longer term, we might find that the BOJ is going to be okay. If they're lying the sand at 130, we could start to roll. We could just roll over from here. We're finding, I think that momentum up start to pause or fade. It's just whether we continue to grind up. But I think if equity markets are going to be relatively strong today, or they're going to be okay, they're going to hold the highs, they're going to continue to press up into highs, then we would expect this yen to continue to press high, because you're not going to get any safe haven bid into the yen, and we're going to get that US dollar sort of floundering. Okay, over to gold. Gold has been very much disappointing. We get over to the daily. We spoke about this, I think, on the Friday as well. Major double top up here. We call it a retest fail. This leg up, okay, we've sort of got that cup and handle here, cup, that's broken down. Okay, so the retest fail, the RTF is in play at the moment. All right, so you've got big move down, tried to hold here, another lower high, pressuring down. Okay, the fact that we continue to push down, I would expect this to potentially, there's an outside chance we're going to get straight down to 1678. Okay, over the longer term, because that failure at a double top is a major failure. And so you go to the most recent higher low, which is here on a daily basis, 1676. Okay, so there's the opportunity that we are going to push down there. So the bias is down for me. We're looking at this 1830 to hold. We've got a little inside bid at around this level in here, 1806, which could hold. It doesn't look like it could potentially just roll over from here. We look like the momentum. We could just chop around here where momentum comes back to the zero line, then roll and get a hold another lower high. But either way, I would be biased down on gold until it proves me otherwise. And it really has to break this level here, 1830. Okay, oil is we're up to this level here at 111.30. I sort of biased up in this one. I think we've got a bit more to go. And if you take this leg up here and you extend it from this leg up here, we could extend up to 114, the top end of this daily range here. Okay, copper has been bouncing back with that, just thanks to the weakness in the US dollar. It's had a bit of a bounce back, and it's just squeezing out any shorts at the moment. So trend is still down. We've got this level here, this zone 3 at 425.15, which is holding the action down. We're coming into that level. I wouldn't be surprised if we get up into that zone there today, tonight, maybe tonight. It just depends on what the US dollar does. We'll finish off quickly into the cryptocurrencies. Now we're getting a bit of a bounce back. Okay, so this is Bitcoin, major flush, and that's caught everyone. Everyone was capitulation. We knew that was going to happen. You knew that 30 level, when we're coming into that zone, you just know they're going to flush it. It's a major level. Okay, so it's a prime area to attack. Okay, you know there's going to be stops going off below that level, and you know that if you're trying to get long, a decent long position is great. You can flush into that level, you can start buying below as long as it starts to hold, and you can start to build a position from below that level, because all the stops are going to hit at the same time. All going to be flushed into that level, flush below, and then you get a bit of a bounce back. So being a major level, you know that was going to bounce back. It's just where to from here. Okay, we had a big bounce back, a bit of a more selling off this high at 31,000. Bounce back. At the moment, we've got this secondary leg higher, which looks like it's going to stick. Okay, which could take us back up to sort of 34,000. All right, before longer term, we could get another major push down. Okay, so it's all still about that 30,000 level. We're just on a big scale, so it's going to take some time to play out. If we look over to Ethereum, Ethereum could be a bit more the same. We had a big bounce back off this low into 1700. Okay, we got back up to 2142 before we had some selling again. Now that selling faded at around this zone at 1742, and we're starting to head higher. Okay, so at the moment, it looks like we could be pushing back into this 2240, 2280, 2230. We could extend on this move up. But I suspect if the US rolls over tonight, don't expect this to go too far. Okay, if the US continues to bounce back, which I do sort of expect that, I would expect Ethereum and Bitcoin to continue to bounce back as well, because they're going hand in hand with what's happening in the US. All right, better finish it there. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. It'd be great if you can leave us a like on the YouTube channel, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and take a look around the website, www.traderstructure.com, and any questions, just shoot us an email to traderstructure@gmail.com. Thanks, guys, and we'll speak to you soon.